I know most of you already know what's going on because of the community posts that I've put up, but some of you I know use your iPads and you can't for some reason see the community posts on your iPads. I don't know why it's like that, but it is. I am gonna start from the beginning. I'm sure by the title of this video you know what I'm gonna be explaining. First and foremost, before I get into everything that happened with my mother-in-law, I want to explain to you guys what happened with my grandmother, who I called Nana. I don't know why I called her that, but that's just what I called her ever since I was little. My grandmother was not very involved in my life, my children's lives, my cousins' lives. And I don't really know why, other than to say her health was declining and she didn't want to leave the house. So she stopped coming to birthday parties. She stopped coming to holidays. I mean, we all would go to my Aunt Michelle's house every holiday, or my Aunt Tracy's house. And I think most of you know this, but for those that are new, my mom passed away when I was young. I was either 18 or 19. And that's a whole story in itself. But ever since my mom passed away, my Nana, you know, she of course lost a child, and I can't imagine that pain. Ever since then, she just struggled with, I think, depression, and I personally think that maybe she struggled with bipolar. My mom had that, but she did struggle with depression, some sort of depression. My Nana lived with my Uncle Brian, which was her youngest child. And, you know, she of course was older and she was having trouble getting around as much. And my uncle helped her and, you know, did as much as he could for her. But in the past years, she just didn't want to come to any holidays. She didn't like to leave her house. I think mentally there was something going on too. My Nana also struggled from a type of blood cancer. She had it for well over 10 years, which is a shock in itself because that type of cancer, normally you don't live that long. She was on some type of medication and it kept it under control. I think the last birthday she came to of my girls was their 6th or 7th. And I can't even remember which Christmas it was that she was at, the last one, but she just didn't want to leave the house. And she, I mean, for anything, grocery shopping, she stopped going to the doctor. She, I guess, told my Aunt Michelle that she was peeing blood for a few months. And she didn't go to the doctor for it. Like, my Aunt Michelle also said she thinks another reason why my Nana didn't reach out to any of us is because she knew that she was going to be going soon. And I think she thought in her mind it would make it easier on us, which of course not. Like, no matter what goes on, we're family. And no matter how mad we are at each other, we will always love each other. So, I mean, you guys know, like, family dynamics are just so effed up sometimes. I mean, that's just all I can say. I mean, I have aunts and uncles I haven't spoken to since I was maybe, my mom passed away. I mean, it's just how some families are. And that's horrible, and that's not how it should be, but it happens sometimes. What had happened was my Uncle Brian found my Nana out on the front porch of their house, and she was sleeping. So he woke her up and helped her in the house and put her in bed. And when she fell asleep, she never woke up again. We found that out, I don't even remember what day. Like, all my days are just one big blob. I think it was Sunday morning, Saturday night. My aunt called me at like 4 in the morning and I didn't even hear my phone ring. I think I had worked the night before, so I was sleeping, and she texted me at like 9 in the morning and said, as soon as you wake up, call me. And I seen that I missed a call from her, 4 o'clock in the morning or whatever time it was, and I called her back immediately, and she had told me what happened. So, you know, we're all dealing with that. And now I'm gonna move on to what happened with my mother-in-law. I'm gonna try to remember everything, but like I said, my brain is just really jumbled. We're just making it through day by day here. I'm staying strong for my husband. I'm staying strong for my kids, but I'm a mess. The week before my grandmother had passed, well, let me back this up. Okay, so remember that I told you guys my mother-in-law had gone to Alaska on a cruise. She had went with her sister. They were so looking forward to this trip. My mother-in-law had it planned for over 2 years. Like, she was so excited to do this, and she couldn't wait for this trip. So I had noticed, even my Aunt Michelle had noticed, because she seen my mother-in-law at Target about a year ago. And about a year ago, she started losing a lot of weight. And I was like, Sandy, you know, you're losing a lot of weight. Like, what's going on? Are you feeling okay? When I had asked her about it, she's like, it's just because I don't have as big of an appetite anymore, which she hadn't. She really couldn't eat very much anymore. She would just pick. So I thought, okay, that makes sense then. But she had also survived breast cancer twice. The last time she had it was when I first met Jeffrey. Right before we had started dating, she was going through radiation and chemo. After she was cancer-free, she had to go every 6 months and have scans done for at least, I think, 3 or 4 years. And she did. But then after so long, you don't have to go anymore. And she was okay. She was doing great. I mean, last year, the girls were at cheer, and she would walk up and down them bleachers every game to watch her granddaughters cheer. And she was fine. So she went on this trip to Alaska, and it was for 2 weeks. Now, her sister's younger than her, so she was having a hard time keeping up with her. Also, she was struggling with back pain. So her doctor had prescribed her gabapentin, which helps with nerve pain. And she couldn't get her prescription filled before she left because she still had like 2 days left of it, and they wouldn't let her fill it early. So she's like, I'll be okay. Well, she wasn't okay. Her back was killing her there because you do a lot of walking. You're going on excursions, you're sightseeing, you know, you're doing all the things. So she had called her doctor and said, can you please call me in a prescription in Alaska? And he did. That was helping her a little bit, but she was starting to have shortness of breath. She was starting to get very weak. She couldn't go, you know, from me to the end of the room, which isn't far, without being out of breath. So when she came back from her trip, she was struggling very bad. Her bedroom upstairs is right near my laundry room because our laundry room is up on the 3rd floor. So I would walk past and it'd be 2 o'clock in the afternoon and she'd be sleeping. Like, she was an early to go to bed early riser. So she would go to bed at 9 and be up by 7, 8 o'clock in the morning. Well, she'd be up for 2 hours and have to take a nap. She would walk down the steps to the kitchen and be out of breath. She'd have to sit down. Her best friend had come to visit for 2 weeks. We had went on our trip to South Carolina, and the first week we were there was the first week her best friend came. When we came back from our trip, her best friend was like, there is something wrong. And I was like, I agree. Like, she has been sleeping in the middle of the day. She was never one to take a nap, ever. She would keep herself busy with reading or sewing. She loved to help me when I would find stuff. I would need it to be sewn, and she would love doing stuff like that. Anytime the girls' shirts had a rip in them, she would sew them. I could never get a load of laundry out of the dryer. She would beat me to it and fold it every time. And she couldn't do it. She couldn't physically do anything. She would walk from her bedroom to her bathroom, which was right across the hall, and she would be struggling. So while her best friend was here, she's like, you need to call the doctor. You need to make an appointment. There is something wrong. Her best friend was checking her blood pressure while she was here. And like while she was sitting, it was like ridiculously high. And then she would lay down and it would drop. And like it was just fluctuating so bad. And I had talked to Beth because her mom's a registered nurse. And she said high blood pressure can make you feel horrible. She kept saying like the left side of her head was pounding, like excruciating pain. She would have shortness of breath, like going up and down the steps. She was weak. She couldn't walk from her bedroom to the bathroom without stopping and holding onto the wall. She was always up, moving around, driving herself to church. So we knew something was up. We knew. I had texted her other son, my brother-in-law, and I was like, I don't know if your mom has been telling you what's going on, but like something's wrong with her. She's napping in the middle of the day. She can't catch her breath. Like something is wrong. He's like, thank you for telling me. No, she did not tell me anything. And I'm going to tell her she needs to make a doctor's appointment right now. So she did call a doctor, and they told her like some ridiculous amount of time, like 2 months you can come in. We were like, no. It needs to be now. So somehow she was able to get it moved up. She had went in. They did like urine tests, blood tests. The next morning, I hear my husband come in the door. And I hear him and his mom talking. And I hear her crying. And then I hear my husband crying. So I jump up and I run out into the dining room. I'm like, what's going on? And he said, it's cancer. My poor husband. So she had to go. The doctor said, you need to come in right now. Your blood tests show a high amount of cancer. You need to come into the office, and then you need to go straight to the emergency room for them to run tests. So that was Tuesday morning. So she goes to the emergency room and they admit her and they start running so many tests. At first, we heard it was in 3 places. Next to her heart, on her liver, and on her spine. I guess that there's like a main spot of cancer and then it metastasizes. I don't even know if that's the right word, but it moves to other areas. So the main spot was next to her heart. So they had to go in and do a biopsy. They said it should come back fast. We're waiting for the biopsy results. I don't even remember what day they did the biopsy. It wasn't the first day that she was in there. It was a few days after she had been admitted. She went in on Tuesday. And I think maybe like Thursday or Friday they did the biopsy. And they said, it should be back fast. We'll have results and we'll know what stages we're dealing with. We'll know if it's treatable. While she was in there, they were, of course, running more tests on her and more tests. Before she had left for her doctor's appointment the one day, she showed me her one leg and it was covered in bruises, like the bottom part of her leg. It was just covered. It looked like my dog jumped on her and just like everywhere he jumped, it bruised. And I asked her, I said, did Peanut jump on you? And she's like, no, I don't know what's going on, but my leg hurts so bad. So when she was in there, she showed them the bruises. Come to find out, she had cancer in her leg too. So 4 areas of cancer in her. 4. So of course, my husband's going, visiting her when he can. And, you know, he works 12-hour shifts and it's hard because he has enough time to come home, eat something, and go to bed before he has to be at work the next day. So he was trying to stay awake after work and go and sit with her for at least an hour. That way, it's not in there by herself because my brother-in-law gets off work at like 3 and he would go sit with her from 3 to 9. So we had all decided, okay, Thursday, we're going to take the girls. We didn't tell the girls what was going on. We just told them, Mama's sick. You know that she's been feeling good, so they're trying to fix her up. So we're waiting to find out how bad the cancer is before we tell our girls. So they had no idea what was going on. We're still waiting for the biopsy results. It's been days at this point. It was Monday. she talks to my husband and says, while they're running tests, they said that I need hip surgery. I mean, my husband told me that, and I was like, you know, that's like the least of our worries right now is her hip. Like, I just don't understand that. They decided to schedule the surgery for Tuesday, last Tuesday. I guess that was what, the 20th? Yeah, the 20th. Well, Tuesday comes, his mom talks to Jeff, and she said, no, they want to wait for the biopsy results. They canceled the surgery. And we were like, you know, that's probably better. I mean, I'm not a doctor, okay, but I've always heard if you have cancer and you go in for a surgery and they open you up and air gets to it, that's not good. So they canceled the surgery. We still did not get the biopsy results. Wednesday comes. Jeff's at work. He finishes at 8 o'clock in the morning. He gets home at 8:30 a.m. He comes in and I'm like, have you talked to your mom? Yeah, she texts me, they're taking her in for hip surgery. And I'm like, why is that so important? It's not important right now. What's important is that we figure out how bad this cancer is and if we can be treated. And he's like, I know, I agree. Like, they said they were going to wait for the biopsy results. We still haven't gotten them. And I'm like, yeah, I don't understand this. He tries to go to sleep. And it was like 11 o'clock in the morning. And she had just gone back for surgery, like not even within an hour. And it was the doctors. And they said there was a complication. And your mom's heart stopped on the table. The term that they used was her heart exploded. Now, a heart cannot physically explode. But I forget the medical term that they said. But that's bad. It's very bad. So they stopped trying to resuscitate her. And they called Jeff back. And he was on his way to the hospital. And they said she's gone. So he drove. I wanted to drive him there. But I had the girls. And I didn't want them to, you know what I mean? Like, I didn't know what to do. And I felt so bad having him drive by himself. But he was able to sit with her for a few hours. And so was his brother. And then I had to tell my girls, which was the hardest thing. They loved their mama very much. And it's hard because she lived with us. I had to tell my kids everything. And I was like, I'm not going to keep anything from them. I'm going to be honest, because they kept begging to go see her. And we kept saying, no, we're just going to wait. We're just going to wait until we know. And because she looked very, very sick. And we didn't want the girls to see her like that. But now I'm kicking myself, because at least they would have been able to see her, you know? So before she went into the hospital, she handed Jeff a letter. And it said, pretty much, if I should die, this is what I want done. I want buried here. I want cremated. I want this. I want that. And he didn't even open that letter. It was in our safe. So when he drove to the hospital, he said, please open that letter and read it, because all of her instructions are on that letter and I cannot do it. So I, of course, did. And I started making phone calls right away and getting everything in order for him and his brother so they didn't have to do it. So this Thursday, today is Monday, the 27th. So this coming Thursday is her burial. And we're just doing a small ceremony, gravesite, which is what she asked for. But, like, this shouldn't have happened. I can't wrap my head around it, because why were these doctors in such a rush to operate on a hip that is not that big of a deal? The cancer is what the big deal was. The hip could have waited. Plus, why are you going to put somebody under anesthesia that's having shortness of breath and can't walk from here 5 feet away without almost passing out? Like, somebody had to have made a mistake. Something was wrong there. They said they wanted to wait on the biopsy results, and then they still didn't wait on the biopsy results, and they still took her into surgery. So we honestly think there was a huge mistake made. And I get it. Mistakes are made. I totally get that. People are human. People make mistakes. But when you are making a mistake with somebody's life, that shouldn't happen. So that is what has been going on. And I just want to thank you guys so much for all the sweet emails and the comments. Like, you guys are just amazing, and I love you guys, and I'm so appreciative of every single one of you. I know you guys all care about me, you care about my family, and I can't thank you guys enough. Like, I truly cannot. I am going to go out diving again soon, probably tomorrow, just because it helps me to keep my mind off of everything and keep busy. My husband's off work. He was off all last week and this week. He's probably gonna have to go back next week, but my poor husband, he's a mess. My poor brother-in-law, he's a mess. I just feel like a huge mistake was made, and it shouldn't have been made. So we are going to look into that. I wanted to share this with you guys because I know you guys know how much my mother-in-law meant to me. I talked about her all the time. She loved me dumpster diving because she reaped the benefits. Oh, when we were going through her room, we found her candy drawer, which was so much candy that I had found, because she would always say, "Can I have this?" I'm like, don't ever ask me. Just go down and take what you want. You don't ever have to ask me. And she always would say, "Good luck. I hope you find a lot." My poor girls are gonna miss her so much. They do miss her so much. If you guys can just continue to keep him and his brother in your prayers, I would greatly appreciate that. And keep my side of the family in your prayers for us losing my Nona. I, of course, would appreciate that as well. Again, thank you guys so much for all of your kind emails and comments and your sweet words. Like, just thank you guys so much. I truly cannot say thank you enough. You guys have been amazing. I know I have a lot of donations here. We are going to have a live donation opening soon. I am going to probably do that next week. And like I said, I'm probably gonna go out tomorrow packing dumpsters just to keep my mind busy and get my mind off of things, because it's just been a really rough 2 weeks here. It really has. Like, it was just another hit after another hit after another hit. We'll see you guys in a day or two at the dumpsters, and then next week we will have the live donation opening. Thank you so much for your sweet emails and comments. We all appreciate them very much.
Drive. Do you know I'm looking, and I can't help but smile? Do you know how much I love you? You put my favorite song on, I put my feet up, and we just sing along.